All right, here we go.
Is that the link there? Did you set that up?
My man cave of anger. My man cave of anger. All this money I spent in this goddamn room behind me. $36 million for Garrett Cole. And he can't even pitch 2 innings. Ridiculous. All right, that's all I got.
You really don't care, do you?
I do, but everything with the Yankees or any of my teams that I root for is tempered with expectations. And I never expected the Yankees to be an elite team this year. I actually think they had a decent year based on the roster. They spend a lot of money, but they spend it poorly. They won 92 games. This stuff's been building the last couple of years because while the rest of baseball, the top teams, the Rays do it differently, but the Rays still do it in a basic manner of building a pitching rotation and bullpen with incredible depth. The Dodgers do it with hundreds of millions of dollars, and the Yankees still don't get it, and it starts at the top. The Steinbrenner that still is around who runs it, he's not his dad. They're cheap asses. So when they have a chance to get, I don't want Trevor Bauer, so I'll take that one back. Erase. But when years ago, they could have changed the picture of the American League, but they cheaped out on Justin Verlander. Max Scherzer, they couldn't get him, and he also had a no trade clause. And here, that's another thing too. Yankees better start thinking about the fact that everyone doesn't want to go there, and there's got to be some kind of reason why a lot of guys have a no trade clause. So you better work on that too. But yeah, coming into the year, so the Yankees lose the wild card tonight as we bury the lead. They lose the wild card game tonight. They're out. And I know Royals fans don't want to hear this, but if you had all those resources and the money, then as a Yankee fan, you don't expect to go into a year where they're like, hey, Garrett Cole, and then Corey Kluber and Jameson Taillon, rehab projects. Stop.
Yeah. They made the postseason and had Garrett Cole pitch better, which he pitched very well.
Yeah.
For 2/3 of the year, it would all seem right. But to me, I will say this: I'm glad that the Yankees and Red Sox are in the same division, so that at least one of them has to fight their way in through the wild card, as opposed to them having their own, Patriots division of, dealing with three boobs.
By the way, how about the fact
that three-breasted woman that was the AFC East for 20 years?
How about the fact that the Red Sox and Yankees spend whatever they spent this year, probably $375 million on a payroll, and the Rays, are 70 million, if not 60 million, and the Jays are now an emerging team. So both teams, are the Red Sox going to do anything in the postseason? Maybe, but I don't think they're much better. They happen to win tonight. Good job by Eovaldi, better job than Cole. But both franchises have flaws.
Right.
Having all the money doesn't do anything if you misspend it.
No, but if the Rays had the Yankee money,
oh my God. Well, they're the Dodgers. That's what the Dodgers are. The Rays.
Yeah.
Except they're like, hey, you know what? Instead of being 23 deep in our organization, we're like 40 deep, and that's why the Dodgers are awesome every year. Now, but they got caught in a weird position where the Giants have had one of the most miraculous seasons I've ever seen in my lifetime. I still don't know how this roster won 107 games. It's bizarro.
Explain to me the three frontline pitchers and the numbers they hung.
I'm not gonna make it obvious, but it's another one of those cases where you're like, wow, all that potential, and because all we hear about are stuff guys like Gausman and DeSclafani, and they put it all together, didn't they?
And they put it all together on the same team at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, anyone who's like, I can't believe you're suggesting, are you
responsible?
Stop. Yeah. Stop. We know it goes on, and they protected it for years. So, spare me.
I don't know. Maybe it's going on. Maybe it's not.
Maybe it is. I don't know that it is, but I think we're right to ask the question.
Maybe in Toronto, guys seem to explode for lots of home runs.
Yeah, 4 guys with 100 RBIs because the ball's just flying over the wall consistently. Okay.
So,
22-year-old hits 48 home runs, the highest home run total ever for a 22-year-old. Records continue to fall.
Lost weight, powered up.
Lost weight, powered up. Great hitting coach. Got a great hitting coach.
All of baseball thought Marcus Semien, good player, but low average guy, just kind of an average player. Wait, what happened?
He did. What did he end up with home run wise?
So 43.
Was it?
Yes, it was ridiculous.
Because
Every time
because he set the record for home runs by a second baseman then.
Yeah, I heard you going through this whole thing. You were on last week when I was leaving town when you were talking to Adam Hill and Cofield and Company. You were talking about Perez and then Simeon and all these record-breaking numbers for guys playing those positions primarily.
Yeah,
it's a pretty amazing season.
Perez set the catcher record. He broke Johnny Bench's 45, and it's like 70 or 75% at the position. And Simeon, last I checked, I didn't look at the final, but he was at 41, and 43 by Davey Johnson of the Braves was the record. And so, yeah, just, most home runs by a 22-year-old, most home runs by a second baseman. Just happens.
Simeon 45 and 102.
Oh, wow.
Poor George Springer only played half the season, but so he went up with 22 and 50.
Wow.
And then Bo Bichette was at 29. Yep, Bo Bichette 29 and 102. I mean, these are again maybe it's just an amazing deal, but these really are freaking 2004, 1997 numbers when you'd get, you'd have Juan Gone would finish 9th in the MVP, and you're like, only 46 and 132. He's 9th in the MVP.
Yeah. That's how it works.
I always thought Teoscar Hernandez was a 32-116 guy at 28.
It's you knew it. You just knew it.
But right? And by the way, this is not Yankee fan complaining about it because I have no idea what Judge and Stanton do. We know the Yankees have certainly dabbled in stuff in the past, so have the Red Sox. So anyway, not to take away from the playoffs because I think they are going to be really good. American League should be interesting. National is going to be fascinating if the Dodgers can actually make it through the Cardinals. By the way, how annoying are Cardinals fans around you guys, the Royals fans in Kansas City?
Well, I like the Cardinals, so that they're my second favorite team. So the Cardinal fans don't annoy me because I like that team. So but for Royals fans, they can be annoying. They're very annoying because they win all the time, and the Royals don't win all the time. So they had a little pocket, and here the Cardinals are doing their usual playoff run, and so yeah, it frustrates them.
How do the Cardinals produce this many 20-something homer outfielders on a pretty consistent basis?
There's 2 a year every year.
And I'll say you guys, you don't, you're not a wee guy with the Royals, and he came out at the end of the year, but like you were fired up about, yay, Benintendi's here. You know what I mean? And they're bringing up Tyler O'Neill, and I mean he's another one. He finished the season. It was like he had 20 homers in 20 days.
The Royals can't develop an outfielder that can hit at all and have not.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, like if someone, Lorenzo Cain, yeah, they traded for him after he'd already debuted with the Brewers. He did spend a little time in the Royals minor leagues, but yeah, they cannot develop an outfielder for their life. And, Kyle Isbell had a shot coming out of spring training. He ended up going down. They traded for Edward Olivares in the minors. I think he'd actually already debuted with the Padres. But he bounced back and forth this year between Omaha. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. By the way, where do you sit on the wild card should be more than one game?
I don't want to change it. I think this is an odd year. So, tough shitski for the Dodgers. They just happen to be in a division where another team, had a better season. Nah.
No. I mean, like what I said, and I got to have this conversation with Curtis probably tomorrow, but, he's all like, it shouldn't just come down to one game. Like, well, we used to not let him in. Isn't one game better than not being in? So to me, we've given the mulligan to whatever team is great. Like the wild card was really created because the San Francisco Giants didn't make it with like 103 wins one year, right? When Fred McGriff got traded to the Braves, they didn't make it with 100 wins. And so they said, okay, we got to do something to fix this. Okay, so those teams now get in. Right? Then they got to win and move on. I don't get it why we got to keep giving them, well, that's not really fair. 162 games should come down to one. Then eliminate, I don't have any time for that because then do what the English Premier League does. Crown the regular season champ off the team with the best record. That's it. Don't have playoffs. If what you want is a fair representation, you want 162 games to count, then don't have playoffs. There are no playoffs in the English Premier League. You win the regular season title, you're the champ. If you want playoffs, then it's never going to be a fair representation. You can't play 17 NFL games and then have a best of 17 series.
Temecula Hound Dog. No love here for the Cardinals based on their obnoxious fans that hate KC. But I do high respect their organization. They do not tolerate losing. Great culture. What does that last part mean? They do not tolerate losing. Do they not show up?
No, I
are they very loud when they lose?
I think he means the organization doesn't tolerate losing.
Oh, okay,
they think they've got a weakness, they fill it.
Okay.
So,
all right. I will say I do have high hopes for Kyle Isbell to be next year's Tyler O'Neill or Dylan Carlson. So
why do you have him on your fantasy team?
He's a UNLV guy.
Oh, that's right.
Like to see UNLV guys do well.
What was the hand gesture you did there?
I don't know what I did.
I don't know if you did. Is there some is there?
Did that turn out? Was that like a racist
YMCA?
Was that a racist sign? I didn't even know I was doing.
And what would be you?
There we go. Exactly, Kirk. Yankees are out. God damn it! I'm so mad. Meanwhile, the whole time I'm like, well, that plus 122 I got before the game. I was right on.
I know you've dedicated your entire man cave to the Yankees.
Yes.
Clearly, as we can see behind you.
This one, I've got 7 in the complex,
which is good.
Yeah.
But are you not? Is it not really that big a deal because the Yankees have won so much in your lifetime?
Yeah,
is it not really that big a deal because you don't live there anymore?
Like
I'm a Laker fan, but I am not living and dying with every shot.
It's a little both. I mean, they've only won once this century, so that's frustrating. But I refuse to get like. One, I sound like an asshole if I start complaining. Like, I know I sound like a dick on this because they have won so many times and they spend so much money and they're always in competition. So I'm aware that me ranting is stupid. Other people, by the way, host and social media folks are like, it's ridiculous. 2, yeah, you're right. I'm far away. 3, I'm kind of screwed because I do a show and like people don't think about this. I do a show. Like, I don't watch TV during the show. I don't know. Other hosts do that. I don't know. I can't do it. I do the show. The games are on when I'm on the air. So, like, I can watch them on the weekends. And honestly, like, maybe it's growing up in the Northeast. Like, I am a glutton for punishment. So the 2 teams I get worked up, about the most are my school. It's actually 3 teams, my school and the Jets. But the Jets are testing me, believe me. Like, I will tell you on Sunday,
Were you already trying to tank to get another high pick? The season?
I mentioned it during the game. I was like, what's the point? I'm like, I need Zach Wilson to show some progress. Like, he's got to be good. But, like, is it really worth it to win 7 games? And I hear, I'll tell you the other thing, and this is what, and now I'm seeing it. Koken used to say this all the time. Dave Koken, big, sports gambler guy going back to the Feist days and, the boiler rooms and all that stuff. When you bet, it really does take an edge off it because, Sunday, to be honest, one of my NFL bets was a teaser that had the Titans on the back end of the Bengals. So I was like, if the Jets lose, I win a bet. But yeah, we were getting ready to go hang out over someone's house, and they finally put the Jets game on, like the extended coverage, and I saw them kick the field goal to take the lead, and I'm like, let's go. Whatever happens, happens. Like, I really have turned into it. But in the case of the Jets, I mean, they break you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll admit I have battle scars where I'm just afraid to get back where I was like 4 years ago, like really worked up. It sounds terrible and it sounds incredibly immature and taking sports way too seriously where I'm like, I can't do it again.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the goal. The Jets will try to go 2-15 to get Urban Meyer. You know what? Believe me, that's a goddamn Jets move. It is.
Yeah.
You remember Rich Kotite, going back and forth between the freaking Eagles and the Jets. That is a Jets move. They already did it with Adam Gase. Let's give the guy a second chance. He didn't have everything he needed down in Miami. I mean, everyone's telling us he's a freaking weirdo and can't communicate. But you know what? We see something in him. It'll be the same thing with Urban Meyer. In the front, the assistant GM will come along and be like, listen, what I hear is Shelley doesn't care. He gets the fuck on the side. All right? That's an agreement. And don't worry about the other stuff, okay? He drinks a little bit.
He'll be at Studio 54, grinding around.
It's, I wonder what your take on. I didn't mention it on the air because maybe people in Vegas would get all mad about it. But one of the things I thought of with Meyer was, and I actually did say this, I'm like, listen, I don't know. I really don't know what arrangement he has with his wife. If there is an arrangement, I'm sure the one thing they agree to is don't embarrass me in public. And he did, right? He's
Right.
goosing a girl. And the other part is, for all I know, Shad Khan might fuck 50 women on a rotation per year, and like he could be cool with it too. It's up to the employer. I mean, you're repping an organization. You know, I don't know. Could Jerry Jones sit there and like wag his finger at Urban Meyer and be like, you know, can't be womanizing, buddy? Like, wait, you? Right? So I don't know what the I don't know what the agreement is. But I tell you, one of the first things I thought of when I saw what he was doing, I was like, football coach? Yep. Acting, you know, he got caught. He's an idiot. Come on, it's 2021, dude. But football coach, and I almost mentioned it on the air. I was going to go down like all the guys I've heard of who were like drinkers and then womanizers. And you had one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NFL in Kansas City. And I mean, you know, it was well known. There was a side piece.
Who are you talking about?
Marty. Right? So,
I mean, there was some alleged things going on there towards the end. Yeah.
Yep. You know, and then we've seen other cases where Bo Ryan got outed. I don't know what your boy Boeheim has been doing at different times. I mean, it's, you know, it's.
Well, he was divorced at one point.
We've heard about, you know,
Jim Boeheim is beyond reproach.
I know, you know, we've heard about guys who were giant boozers. You know, it's a tough job, but now
talk about Carlos.
If you're going to do it in public, you're an idiot. So,
you're a complete moron. If you don't think everyone
lying on top of it for the last day and a half, like you can't say you own it, and then not appear in front of your whole team, cancel your Monday meeting. You use the excuse on the front end that you were going to see your grandkids. Well, yeah, kind of, but you're also going out potentially to get some tail and throw some back. So it's like that guy has such a track record of being low character that you're never surprised when he pulls another low character move, Urban Meyer.
I can't remember who wrote it, so I apologize for not giving credit to the author, but somebody had talked to a Jaguars player who said the moment he walked out of the room, everybody started laughing at him, and that he has completely lost the team. And the player said, I have no idea how he comes back from this.
Yep. I know.
So, I mean, you can't just be like, it's one thing, like he probably could have walked in there and been like, come on, guys, you got to be smarter than me. Clearly,
yep.
You know, I'm a moron. But the not flying with the team is kind of like, because players are not allowed to do that.
Right.
And so no, I'm not going to go back with the team. But then given he thought he covered everything when he gave the post-game speech about, these guys are good characters. There's, good guys. This one really hurts and all that. Yeah, it hurts so much that like you don't have to follow the team rules.
Yep. But you know what this is? I mean, I can't guarantee this happened, but he probably did the same thing at both Florida and Ohio State, and no one would ever say anything to him.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, cut the shit. These are habits developed by his behavior in the past.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
No, I can tell you in Columbus and Gainesville, and start naming them, Waco and State College, and maybe Austin they would. But a lot of these places, there ain't no one who's going to step up and call a coach on the carpet for bullshit.
In their own neighborhood, there is nobody more powerful than a Power 5 successful college football coach. And you're like, what about the president of the United States? No chance, because half the town hates him.
Yep.
Right? Everybody in the city loves that guy. Right? Like Columbus, Ohio, everybody loves Urban Meyer, and he can literally do anything he wants. Nobody at the university will tell him no. Nobody, like there is nobody more powerful in their neighborhood than a successful college football coach.
I will never relent from the take that Joe Paterno was a dirtbag, and everyone who says, well, he did what he was supposed to do, he rolled it up the chain. There is no ladder, okay? He's the top of the goddamn ladder.
Yes.
Governor Joe, President Joe.
Yes.
I did what I was supposed to do. No, you didn't.
No. They created a ridiculous farce of a chain of command that theoretically could cover your ass so that you wouldn't get fired.
Right. Now, there are places, I will tell you right now, where I went to school and where you went to school, those guys have some power, but they can get called on the carpet because the local media is like, we're going to be here.
Yeah.
You're not F with us. And when you do, then
you're talking about the football coach at Syracuse, right?
Yes.
Are you talking about Jim Boeheim?
Babers. Well, Boeheim's interesting.
Boeheim has his wars, but he's always come out the other end. I think he became, once he won the national championship, successful. Boeheim's always a difficult one because He doesn't have multiple national titles like Joe Paterno and Nick Saban and Urban Meyer. He's got one, but he eventually, after that one, became that kind of guy to where, but now even then they're like, okay, you got to retire. He's like, okay, I'm going to retire in 5 years. Like, oh,
Right.
okay, great. And he's like, yeah, I changed my mind. I'm still going.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool too. You went to a Final Four again, so we're good with that.
Yep.
So, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
touche. Yeah, that's a good one.
it's ridiculous. It's
That's a
ridiculous.
good one. So I was telling you a story. We want to get to some leans and likes here for college and especially the NFL. I was telling you a story. I heard Doug Gottlieb. Actually, I listen to Gottlieb's show every afternoon driving in. He's my best option. I mean, JT the Brick is awesome, so I listen to JT. But I also have Golick Jr. and whoever's doing the show with him, and I think he's trying, but it's a different kind of show. So I like the way Gottlieb does the show. He's obnoxious. He's opinionated. His interviews are pretty solid. Well, just like everyone else, he's getting more and more into sports gambling and giving out picks. So I heard him on Monday, and he was doing I Told You So. New feature he added in week 5 of the college football season as he rolled through 4 of his winning picks and played the audio back. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to have to start following this every week, right? We'll see if he continues to do it. But I think it's really important when we do this or anyone's doing picks in their own market and they go on and on about their picks. I think you not only have to rehash your picks that you did on the air, but you also have to rehash your bets that maybe you didn't tell people about. So I did this real quick on Monday's Cofield and Company, but I'm going to tell you what I did this weekend, and I'm going to point out just what an undisciplined jackoff I am, and this is why I'm okay at this, but I don't win a ton of money because I'm not disciplined, right? So, and I mentioned a lot of these last week on these podcasts. College football, I had Cincy minus over Notre Dame, win. I had Ohio State minus against Rutgers, win. K-State plus against Oklahoma, win. Bama first half minus 8.5, Ole Miss, win. BC plus 14.5 against Clemson, win. And then I bet Northwestern against Nebraska, no good. They lost 56-7. 5-1 college football. Last week on these podcasts, and I even argued with JVT on the Patriots, right? Patriots plus and Patriots under, right? They both hit. So last week, all I talked about on these shows and on the air, Bears, Patriots, Giants plus, right? And the under on the Patriots. What did I bet? The Bears. That was it. What did I actually bet in the NFL? In-game, which I'm okay at, and I got bombed on every in-game I tried. I was in-game multiple times on the Rams. Sucked. I was in-game on who else did I jump on? The friggin' for some reason I'm like, all right, you know what? Drew Lock, good second half, comeback quarterback. But he hadn't played the first half, so he hadn't effed up the first half. So I took the Broncos plus 7.5 in the second half. Nothing. And then I had one other in-game. What was my other in-game? Bucks. Bucks minus 2.5. Of course, they win, but they don't cover the 2.5. And I lost that Titans Bengals teaser. So after going 5-1, because college football, every game I liked, plus I was like, don't be shy, bet. NFL, I overthought it, didn't bet them, so I wound up basically even for the weekend.
How do you do on teasers?
We talked about this last week. I'm now 1-4 this year on teasers.
Thank you.
And I know you've told me teasers suck. And Von Tobel was, and John will point out, it's only this, this spread through the key numbers. So
yeah, I know.
But so far, going through the key numbers has been 1-3. But here's the amazing thing: if you've bet all the different combinations, it's actually been amazing the last couple of weeks betting through the key numbers. I just have hit the 3 losers that have happened. Well, last week a lot of people got destroyed on the Titans because everyone had the Titans in a teaser. So there you go. So I know that was tedious for me to go through all the bets, but I just wanted to mention, what I bet, what I said I was going to bet, then what I actually bet, and then I, lack of discipline.
Well, and a lot of it is money management.
Yep.
Okay, you won these games, but did you had your one game that was the lock of the year that you bet more than those 4 games total?
I don't ever bet more. I bet the same amount on everything.
That's what I do too.
Yeah. And that means even I was talking about playing baseball the last month of the season. If there's a plus 240, plus 190, plus 260, it's the same as, whatever, minus 140 is, whatever I bet on that, it's the same amount. So
you bet a unit. So like in baseball, I will bet if I got a minus 140 favorite, I bet 140 to win 100. And if I got a dog, I bet 100. Right. So if I had a plus 240 on 100, okay.
Yep.
$100 units. That's what I would do.
Yep. So, all right. So with that said, I guess buyer beware. Well, not really buyer beware because I actually had a lot of games I liked last
I
week.
will throw you tons of winners here. What you're saying is we'll not cash in ourselves.
I might not bet because I'm a pansy or and honestly, you know what happened last week? Honestly, when the Giants were +8 against the Saints, I didn't bet it that Tuesday, and then I looked on Friday. I'm like, it's 7. I don't like it as much. So, and then they went outright. So, this shit ain't easy.
By the way, kudos to the Giants and Jets because they knocked out 2,500 from my Survivor pool. We're now down to less than half 4 weeks in.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And I did not have either one of those games. I survived the Bengals, two entries left. Survived with the Bengals on Thursday night coming from behind, and then easy one with the Bills.
So I'll repeat it again for the audience. Twitter has not, or StreamYard and Twitter have still not fixed this Twitter comment thing. So if you are commenting, I'm sure there's a lot of good comments. I'll try to check my phone because that's where I can see them, but we don't actually get it on the StreamYard feed. So I would highly advise going to Twitch or to YouTube or to Facebook. And then your questions are coming through because like Adam Hill just came on the YouTube feed and is yelling at you to accept the trade because he drafted too many wide receivers.
I denied it.
The league is shut out. The league is now shutting out Adam Hill for running backs. And Adam's like, my receiving room is great. I'm like, well, no one will trade with you.
Yeah, but so the trade I was offered, just for fantasy football nerds, Ja'Marr Chase and Zach Moss for Jonathan Taylor. Like, which if he can get somebody to take that deal, good job, Adam. But I'm not an amateur. Right? So, no.
Wow.
Right? Number one, like I said to him in my response, I'm like, why would I give you exactly what you need when you're already 4-0?
Yep.
Like, it's an improbable 4-0, and I don't think it's sustainable. So if you fall to 5-3, then let's talk trade. Right? But no, I'm not going to give you exactly what you need to keep things rolling. No. And by the way, that's not enough. Zach Moss is in a timeshare. Granted, strike while the iron's hot. He had his best game. I have him in a dynasty league, but I don't think he's taking over and becoming anything more than a guy that's like at best a flex option on when you've got buys. And so he's irrelevant. And then I do like Ja'Marr Chase, and I think he may be really good. And I may regret it from that standpoint, but I've got 3 pretty good wideouts. So I don't need to do the deal.
Damn.
Oh, he sent me a new one with CeeDee Lamb. I said, if you want Jonathan Taylor, you're going to have to talk Devontae Adams or CeeDee Lamb. So I do. Of course, he goes, make it Devontae Adams. Oh, yeah, the patented 2-for-1, the old 2-for-1. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's the other thing he does is you can see who he's starting, and then he offers you. He's got 5 good receivers. He offers his number 5 receiver for your number 2 running back.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like I know who your best I know who the best receivers. I know who your best receivers are. Give me that guy.
Yeah. That's pretty much what he's got going on. Yeah, move Devontae Adams. It's like I'm doing the opposite in my dynasty league. I'm trying to get Jonathan Taylor myself, and I'm moving Jalen Waddle and a first-round pick. And I don't like the deal because running backs in keeper and dynasty leagues are absolute shit. Like you should always be moving running backs for receivers. Receivers will play for 8 years. No running back will still be doing anything 4 years from now.
Adam still hasn't picked up on the fact that his needling and erroneous on all accounts, that people remember that stuff and they don't want you to win. Like as an example, Petro and I are in a couple of leagues with a bunch of his Kansas City buddies, and there are certain people in that league that I will not trade with.
Who?
I'm not always the biggest fan of Jack and Kyle,
right?
Because I don't think they're I think they send offers over basically saying, "Hey, you're stupid." So, and I will tell you, we are in an American league. And I got off to a horrendous
we have an AL and an NL with the same 11 guys.
Yes. So we have an American league and fantasy, and I was off to a terrible start. I'm looking at my team. I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm going to have a bunch of guys come back, return. And there was like a scoff. I felt a scoff on an email about me not trading. And in the end, I think I finished 3rd and they finished 5th. So I enjoyed that.
So okay. So
Now, I will say, on the flip side of that, it wouldn't be Adam in leagues, but there are certain people I love to trade with because they're amenable to a lot of trades. And I'll be honest, I have gotten them sometimes, but they've also gotten me. So,
like
but
you like trading with me, right? Because I'm a card player that gives action.
well, you want to make trades, so that's the most important thing, and I want to make trades because there's a lot of people who are like, they're so hesitant, and they're trying to balance things. Like it's a game. Come on, let's try.
Well, I mean, to me, what makes it the like I don't even the 1 year leagues. If my team gets off to a good start, great, I'm in. If not, then I'm quickly disinterested because there's nothing to play for. Right. And so what I like about the keeper and dynasty things is like, okay, I've got something to work on here. I can stay motivated by trying to make my team better for next year. But if it's just like a 1 year league, now I will say I do have one league that all the juices and all the side bets. There's 4 figures worth of side bets, right?
Nice.
There's commas and all the money that's moving back around between each team and everything. So, you're interested in I got a $200 bet with this guy, I got a $100 bet with this guy, I got a $50 bet on that, I got a $200 bet on that. And so there's a reason to be, incentivized and keep making moves. But like yeah, the whole I'm always amazed at how like how have you been in this? Like our buddy Chuck in Seattle. Like
Well,
30
well,
years.
but he did finish.
No, he's doing well.
He finished first and fifth, which
He's doing well, but like when you go to trade with him,
yeah,
it's like, okay, here are guys. Let me sell you on how these guys that I would never even consider keeping are keepable, and you should trade me these 2 really good guys for these 3 guys that are fringe prospects. Oh, he always loves his prospects.
I don't care.
Just drives me crazy.
If I have a chance to compete, then every prospect I have can go. You know what? It's funny because you weren't paying attention. I'll put the blame on you. I was really close to in the American League, trying to get Chapman and who's the fat ass Pineda.
Yeah.
Right. So I was, and they're both. I think they're both done. And I was thinking about trading you.
I
The
think
guy,
you mean in the final year that they can.
yeah. They were done in our contract wise and not done for their careers. But I was thinking of trading you the guy Alek Manoah, from the Blue Jays, and you were like, I don't know. If I had traded him, I would not have finished in the money. So I almost fucked up there because he actually was really good, and he's 6'6" and like 275 pounds, which would have been heartbreaking for me to hand a giant fat ass over to you.
Oh,
And
you love those guys.
I love them. The whole team is giant fat asses.
I have to admit that like baseball is losing my interest. Like I am not like.
How do we retain it, Ren? Can we change the rules for you? Seriously,
I don't know that you can. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever be good at baseball again. Like I'll give a shot at trying to move some guys, but like baseball, the sport is boring.
Yeah.
Like I watched the Yankees and Red Sox tonight. I was doing our Red, White, and True podcast while it was on. So the first half of the game I watched pitch by pitch. Because it's literally the first game that I've watched pitch by pitch in months because the Royals were out of it. And so it's been months. So I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. I remember baseball when you got to win a game, but the whole.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you don't really have to watch to be good
No.
at fantasy.
No, I agree.
I mean, you read the box scores every day and pay attention. Sort of.
But I don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, I do that. It's actually it is one of the things I missed about base. Like I actually thought about it on Monday. I'm like, oh man, I don't get to read the box scores today.
I have not had that for a while.
I know it's nuts, but I
have not. Now in NBA, when the NBA box scores stop, I'm like, this sucks. Right? I love my NBA fantasy league.
Brady destroyed my fantasy baseball league this year. Didn't watch a single game. It's all numbers. All right. Well, you know, if we have an opening in the Kansas City League, you're in. Let's see if you can destroy us. Oh, you guys do head to head. He does head to head matchups. That's interesting.
Yeah, we do rotisserie style.
Soren's going to work on the F1 league.
I'm in an F1 league.
Oh, that's right.
It's, and we're actually doing pretty good. So,
man, I do not.
You want to hear the breakdown? You know,
fantasy hockey. That's crazy. All right, Brady likes Roto. Brady's never available though. Every time we invite him every year to these drafts, and he's always got something going on.
Yeah, that's clear schedule.
What are you gonna do? Are you, by the way, are you losing interest in some fantasy football because you're 1-7 in the late night happy hour league?
Well, I don't like PPR, and so I have to admit,
stop.
No, listen. No, this is what I'm saying. I don't like it,
Yeah.
and so I've refused to dig in. And
Oh my god,
it's the only PPR league I do. No, I take that back. My dynasty leagues went to half point PPR.
right?
But we play so many players in that I'll just overwhelm. I love rebuilding. And so I told you, in those leagues, I traded Zeke Elliott in both of them 2 years ago. And I traded Saquon Barkley. I had Zeke Elliott and Saquon Barkley on one team. And I traded both of them. And the league was just the message board was howling about how I'm a moron. And this past year, I won a year, what was it? 2 years after the first trade and 1 year after the second trade, I won the league. And I had the number 1 overall pick because one of the guys I traded Saquon Barkley to was last. And the guy I traded Zeke Elliott to has given me his first round pick and 2 of his second round picks. I traded for 2 years and 3 years first round pick, away. So in 20, I traded for his 22 and 23 first, his 23 and 24 second. He has no wins this year and has Saquon Barkley. And so I'm going to move both of those. I was called a moron. I'm the defending champion. I'm in first place. And I took Jamar Chase with the number 1 overall pick. And I have the guy's pick who's probably going to end up giving me the number 1 pick again next year. So no, I enjoy the football, right? So I enjoy the building part of it and all that and building a team. So actually the team's winning now and it's kind of boring. I like when the team sucks and all right, guy needs a kicker. Let me offer him a kicker. He doesn't have a kicker this week. I'll get a 3rd round pick for that guy. I'll get I moved last year. I moved Will Fuller at the deadline for a 1st round pick. And then Fuller got hurt the next week. So I love that stuff.
Your fantasy team that's 1-7. You have Winston, Carson. Then you have Jonathan Taylor, Hollywood Brown, Mike Evans, Dawson Knox, Trey Sermon, A.J. Brown, Van Jefferson, Gronk, Ayuk, and Darrell Henderson. This is not a bad team.
No, it's a 14-team league, we should point out. So it is stretched thinner than most leagues. Most leagues are 12 or some 10s, but it's stretched thinner. No, I don't think my team is awful, but I've been stung by the injury bug, and I got burned by not having Deebo Samuel in the lineup, I think, week 1 when he went for 160 something. And so that cost me. And now Gronk's down, and I got a bunch of injuries. And
so we need to do a 12-team league where your entire roster plays.
I would love that.
Isn't that the next tweak we need to do?
Well, I would like to go to – I'll tell you what I do like about the Dynasty League is it's 1 quarterback, 2 or 3 running backs, 3 to 5 wideouts, and 1 or 2 tight ends. Right? So you
do a massive roster.
Yeah, you have to have, what is it, 8, 9, and your kicker 10. You have 10 starters, right? And then we go all the way down to where we can have up to 27 guys on the active roster, an 8-man taxi squad. So when you draft a guy as a rookie, he can spend 3 years down there on that, I think. And as long as you don't activate him, he stays in there and he only counts 25% of the cap and all that. So there's 8 more guys anyway. Then you have a two-man injured reserve list. So you can really carry 37 players, and there's 14 teams in the league.
Oh my God.
So
that is
everybody is on a roster.
Right.
And then you're starting a lot of players. I enjoy that much more.
All right. Back to listener Brady. I think I like this comment. It means I use the term P1 way too much. Mark says Brady risks his P1 status by skipping on your fantasy leagues. Not really, because he's in a daily war with our producer Ari on Twitter, which will always make him a P1 because Ari legitimately gets really worked up. So we do appreciate that. He will never lose his P1 status as long as he keeps raking Ari over the coals.
I like it.
It's hilarious.
I like it.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's do I want to do some NFL.
You want to do NFL? You don't want to I have a game in college. Are we going to come back to college or
no, we're going to do college right now. And anyone who's got a college game or two, mention them.
I think there's one game that has to be wagered this weekend.
All right, give it to me.
Connecticut, UMass.
It's very exciting, is not. I think they're the Rebels, who I cover here at UNLV in Vegas, are 0-5, but they've actually been a little bit competitive in some of their games. But UConn and UMass is pretty amazing.
Tom Fornelli on CBS Sports has them as the
Are they 1-2 in the bottom 25?
1 and 2 in the bottom 25.
I saw that today. UNLV is 5.
Yes, he has them at 1 and 2 in the bottom 25. And I thought it was interesting. I did this as my kicker. The last thing we did on the show was that UMass and Connecticut were playing, and Fornelli called it the match of a lifetime, of the week, of the millennium, right? Like it was just a funny thing that he wrote. I looked it up. Where do you think you can catch UConn and UMass? If you want to watch it, where do you go?
Ooh, it's got to be ESPN Plus, no?
No.
Or is it some crazy regional New England channel?
Flow Sports.
Flow Sports. Okay.
FLOSPORTS. Flow Sports.
All right. Well, I kind of
Streaming
think
service. They stream things like competitive cheer,
oh no,
rodeo, competitive fitness, and they stream
it's
the
close.
UMass and
It's
UConn.
It's old school closed circuit. Yes. And
UConn minus, and the bettors love UConn. I mean, the money is pouring in. Opened at 1,
right?
now at 3.5. They're saying this UMass team is just piss. Sure, UConn is shit, but no, this is just a mismatch of talents. 2.5 point line move already going to the way of UConn. Where do you sit, Steve? Break this one down for me.
I don't know much about these teams, so I will admit I'm ignorant. I haven't studied, but I will study, and I will lean on my New England gambling connection, who we had on today, for a take on this game.
So I say I might be dead wrong on this. By the way, how much action do you think is on this? 100% of the cash is on UConn, 97% of the tickets. Can you explain to me how that math works?
Well, early in the week when we do,
Was there 3% of the tickets that were written for free?
Well,
there's 100% of the cash, but only 97% of the tickets.
Yeah.
I'd like that. Just explain to me how that happened. Listen,
there's some free bets.
Adam
Hill, you're the sportsbook maven. Explain that. How can 100% and 97% coexist?
Put that out there, Adam. Let's go, smart guy. I'll consider your trade if you give me a legitimate response to this.
All right.
Because I have this theory, like when two shitheels get together, give me the points. How can one of them be favored? How can you think that they're going to, what if they get off to a bad start? Are they going to dig down deep? Right? So all-star games, give me the points. Two shitheels, give me the point. So I'll give me some UMass.
All right.
There you go.
Do you want to hit on a couple of real games?
Sure.
Especially Big 12.
Yeah.
Texas, Oklahoma. Oklahoma 3.
Scratching my head on the number. Oklahoma had K-State covered easily, and then onside kicks and the usual shenanigans, and Oklahoma gives the back door, throws it wide open. But I think Oklahoma is definitively the better team. The points, I know you're going to look at Oklahoma's scores. You can see they're all one-score games. Texas had an impressive performance. I believe Oklahoma is better than this. They don't have the firepower that they've had at the skill positions, and Spencer Rattler is just okay. But I still think Oklahoma is the better team, and so I will lay the points with Oklahoma.
All right. What else in the Big 12?
I think give me the numbers.
Texas Tech.
I just have the whole board in front of me.
Yeah, Texas Tech +2 against TCU.
Texas Tech has the appearance of being a good team. I don't think they are. TCU is disappointed and underachieved to this point, but I will take TCU. I think they should be the better team. And I think this is a point in the season where if you go back and look at what your pre-season read was, and you're getting good value, like I think now there's kind of some overreaction to some of the games. I think Gary Patterson can coach, although he's not as good as we've talked about. Like when you come out of the Mountain West and then you got to go face big boys every week, it's a whole different challenge. And you can see how his record has changed since he got into the Big 12. But I do think TCU is the play on this. I think this is their last stand on the season, a season that they had a great hope and promise for, and it hasn't gone that way so far. I think they make their last stand here, and I think Texas Tech is overrated right now.
Baylor 3 in West Virginia. It's at Baylor. Baylor's 3 over West Virginia.
Yeah, that one's a tough one for me to get a grasp on, but West Virginia has been they're 2-3, I believe, and every game has been tight. And I think that that's which is not a good sign. It means, bad football teams find a way to lose close games. And that's what they've been. And so I would probably I think they're trying to get you on Baylor here by having the line where it is, but West Virginia just keeps spitting the bit. I'll take West Virginia in the 3 points though. I mean, I think these teams are a lot more alike. Baylor is not supposed to be a top 25 team, and I think at the end of the year they will not be. So that means they've got to drop some games like this along the way. So give me West Virginia.
2 more games. Well, one in the region. They're both in the region. Missouri, what the hell happened last week? And now you have to face North Texas and be fired up, 19.5.
Yeah, so North Texas averages 200 yards a game on the ground, and Missouri gives up like 250 or something like that on the ground. They had given up 275 yards rushing to Tennessee in the first half. They fired their defensive line coach within 24 hours of the game. But if you're like, oh, okay, problem solved, Steve Wilkes is the defensive coordinator, and the defensive linemen were not even – Tennessee was coming out to line up. They'd clearly seen on tape that Missouri is a fire drill every time in lining up. And so many teams offenses will stand there and wait for the defense to line up so that they can get their pre-snap read. Like, oh, wait a minute. We don't want to snap it early, and it turns out they're in zone, and we thought they were man. Tennessee said, piss on this. We're coming out like they're never lined up, and we will just fire out. We will knock them off the ball. And they absolutely destroyed him. And I don't see where Steve Wilkes, who clearly is struggling with the limited practice time and how to shave down his defense to fit what is college kids. I mean, there are more dumb kids playing college football than there are dumb kids playing pro ball. And that's a difference in what you have to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because dumb kids get eliminated as they go to the league. If you're a dumb kid in the NFL, you are an extreme athlete. College teams are not filled with extreme athletes. Right? So I don't know where they're going to get it together. And I don't think North Texas is that good. But then again, I do think that it has been so exposed how bad Missouri is against the run. And people are going to see those stats that I think that the difference is probably, I think you're getting value with Missouri. I think offensively, they were really bad offensively against Tennessee. I think they'll bounce back. That's Drinkwitz's side of the ball. So I'll take Missouri and lay the points. But it is, when they get there, it's not going to be because they get there 31-6. They're going to get there like 55-24.
How about this number? Everyone's all hot and heavy about Michigan.
Right.
Number 9 in the country, laying 3.5 against the Left 4 Dead Huskers.
Left 4 Dead, who got it together last week.
Yep.
I can't figure out how this line is that low. I mean, Nebraska has not beaten anybody of note. Michigan has. What was their first? Who did they beat that was good?
I mean, they killed Wisconsin last week, but I'm not sure Wisconsin's anything better than like just above 500 team. They're just not that good this year.
I agree, but who was one of their early? Didn't they have a good early?
They beat Washington 31-10.
Yeah, and they've kind of disappointed. And then they had like a 20-10 win.
Well, they beat Rutgers 20-13, and then Rutgers lost 500-13 the next week. Against Ohio State.
Yeah, I listen. Both neither program is ready to win the league. Michigan at least entertains hopes, so I think they have a lot more spirit left in them. I don't like that all the money is pouring in on Michigan. Right, that does scare me a little bit. And it's 86-82 cash and tickets. So It's not like, oh, smart money though. Like where you're looking at like, oh, they're holding the line on this. Like I will say this: the money's coming in on Michigan, and the line's dropped to 3.5. So based on what I'm looking at, the smart guy bet on Nebraska, right? The guy that the book fears bet on Nebraska.
Right.
But I can't go there.
Right.
I can't go there. I would take. I probably wouldn't play it because I can't. These numbers don't jibe. Somebody knows something, and it ain't me.
Right.
But like if you said, okay, you got to bet, then I'll bet Michigan.
Sean has Boise plus 5.5 against BYU.
By the way, Sean has half the board. I've seen Sean's tickets.
Yeah.
So Sean
That's awesome. Good for him.
He rocks and fires on everything.
I love it. I'll bet BYU -5. I think Boise's starting to unravel. So BYU smacked them around last year. It was like 51-17. They're going to smack them around again.
BYU just handled.
Well, they didn't kill them, but they beat Utah State on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a sizable win. But I would tend to think that their lack of killing of Utah State was more about looking ahead to Boise. But I don't like when it gets to 5.5. I wish it would get to 7.5. But the fact that it started down at 3.5, I think Boise is on rep, and I don't think you can just reload a coach year after year after year. And I'm with you. I think Boise's on the slide.
Yeah, BYU is interesting because they've won games this year by 8, 9, 10, 8, 14. So they.
Well, I will say this: we can talk about that, but who's playing quarterback? Because BYU's quarterbacks, I mean, they lost another one in the game. That's part of the reason why they didn't finish off Utah State. Their quarterback went down in the second quarter, and the kid who stepped in, he didn't play horribly. I mean, shocking. BYU can identify quarterbacks, but I do think who plays a quarterback is of note in that game. So I don't know. I have not checked on what the injury status is right now because they were playing their second and they were down to their third when he went down in the game. So
I don't know. Look it up. And believe it or not, my favorite play of the week, and you can mock on me next week. I will go to a Cincinnati game again because last week I said Cincy -1.5 against Notre Dame. I will take Temple plus 29 against Cincinnati.
Just counting on the letdown for Cincinnati after Notre Dame.
Yep, and actually Temple has bounced back pretty well from a slow start, but part of the reason for the slow start is that they were down their quarterback. So they have a kid named Dwan Mathis, who's a 6'5" dude who started at Georgia. Actually got a start or two at Georgia, and he's a good all-purpose player. So I can't see Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got a long haul here. I mean, they're in a position now, right? They're in the position. Yeah. They're going to get the spot if they go unbeaten. But you're getting all yoked up after a freaking super emotional win.
So let me ask you this: Arkansas and Mississippi in the Consolation Bowl. Both of them had big games. They turn around. Mississippi 5.5 at home against Arkansas.
I would lean Arkansas.
Me too. I'll take Arkansas on the points, and then A&M definitively being proven as a fraud, and still owing.
This looks small, doesn't it?
$86 million to Jimbo Fisher over the next 10 years, still with the rest of this year's pay and what they're going to pay him after this. 18 Alabama's laying at A&M.
Looks small, doesn't it?
So where are you?
I don't like either side. I'm leery of Texas A&M.
99, and again, it's early, and there's the college money doesn't flow like the pro money does, but
right.
99% of the cash, 96% of the tickets on Alabama. I'm leery of A&M too because I've thought they were a fraud all along, but I think at some point the numbers switch around. But I think I think that they're giving credit to A&M's preseason rankings, which were wrong, and all A&M has done under Jimbo Fisher is beat bad teams. He's never shown well in a meaningful game yet. Plus, my buddy Will Harris says he sucks. So, yeah, I think for me, I'd be moving anti A&M every game. So this is just a continuation of that. It's an auto bet anti A&M every week because they're overvalued. And I don't think. You think there's going to be some bounce back and circle the wagons? Bite me. No.
on that BYU quarterback situation. It looks like the 3, Jacob Conover, would be ready to go if Hall is not. I do love college football analysis on Twitter. Quarterback situation. If Jaron Hall can play, it's certainly a disrespectful line. Boise just lost to Nevada. Nevada was a highly touted team coming into the year. They shit
with an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, they shit the bed against Kansas State. It doesn't mean their season is over. And I don't know. So Boise's not terrible either. It's the problem is Boise for some reason can't run the ball anymore. So Hank Bachmeier, who's a good quarterback, is having to throw 55 times a game and winds up getting hit 15. So there you go. That's what I have on college for now. I might have more later in the week with Dave Koken.
Give me the Qs in 5.5. There you go. Against Wake Forest.
All right. You sure?
Yeah.
Wow. I actually thought you were joking.
No. 5.5. I'll take them. Take the Qs in the 5.5.
All right. NFL. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go wrap. Well, first of all, do you want to take the Rams at the Seahawks? 2.5? Minus 2.5.
What did you think the Rams were coming into the year? What was their total? Was it 10? 10.5?
I don't know. I got to look it up. I wasn't in the camp that they were going to be some unbelievable power. And again, part of it holding me back was Stafford and also their games they play with the salary cap. If anyone got hurt, then what happens after that?
Yeah. And in our program picks that we had that game last week and I liked Arizona. I said, this is just seems the whole world's going to be on the Rams. Give me Arizona. And I'm kind of surprised at how easy it was. I didn't think that's how the game was going to go, but I did like the bet. I liked Arizona.
Rams were 10.5.
10.5. Okay. And Seattle was what? 9.5? Somewhere in that range?
10.
Interesting. But I think Seattle's defense is a real problem. And I don't think they've figured out how to run the ball the way they want to. I don't know if they know what they want to be. I will lay the points with the Rams to bounce back.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm on the Seahawks side.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think both teams are trying to find themselves, and I don't know, man. I didn't like the lack of fight from the Rams was a bit disturbing.
Okay.
Jets Falcons. You've sworn off the Falcons. I have no idea. I have no idea who the Jets are, what they're going to do. I mean, again, Falcons should probably win, but you've talked about it before. You don't play Falcons games.
The Falcons are an absolute. I mean, the Falcons have been a good wager many times, only to kill it. I mean, they're mesmerizingly inefficient at the end of games, and part of that's because Matt Ryan can't throw the ball anymore, and so that's a problem. If you play the Jets, you get a quarterback that if he's on is the better quarterback. If he's not, which he's young, which there'll be many games he won't, he'll shoot you in the foot. But for this one, I would tend to lean.
This is absurd. Come on.
What?
The Falcons need to win the game. I mean,
if it's as simple as needing to win the game, then
I don't mean it that way. And I'm not betting on that. Like this is the kind of game they should win. They're the more talented team. They've got a legit quarterback. They've got weapons.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree
because the Jets friggin' caught the Titans in a terrible spot. The Titans were not focused for some reason. They're missing their receivers. Now they can't throw to anyone, so they're going to run freaking Derrick Henry into the ground. I know you've been fading the Titans.
I don't like their defense. I don't like their defense. So, but I will say this. I think the Jets could take on the persona, not of last year's Dolphins, but of 2 years ago's Dolphins. And everybody said when they came out, they got crushed early. Like, this is the worst team in the NFL. And then they won like 5 of their last 8 games or whatever it was. I think the Jets can do that. I do believe I'm not going to say because the quarterback threw some picks that Salah doesn't know how to coach. I think he's a smart coach.
Oh, no.
And so I will take the Jets.
All right. I guess I'm on the Falcons. This is a really hard. I think this is a really hard board this week. I mean, it's. I don't want to lay 10.5 with the Buccaneers because I just don't do that. But my God, the Dolphins offensively, this is unreal. And another thing, I don't panic. So I guess I would lean here to the Dolphins, but man, it's a tough bet to make the way the Dolphins are playing on offense right now.
Yes, and I can't get behind Jacoby Brissett. Like that's not going to happen. I would not play the game.
Yeah.
I do think the Bucs secondary is ravaged, and I do think there are some receivers to throw to. So I think the Dolphins will score some points. But Jacoby Brissett's just limited. I mean, he drops back, and when the first read's not there, he wants to run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not how you're going to consistently win in the NFL.
Which is funny because he's not a running quarterback. Like,
right?
Although he torched the Raiders down the stretch. I was like, how is this guy doing this, guys? Come on.
Yeah. I can't bring myself to bet the Dolphins, but I do think the Bucs have issues on defense.
They do. When Richard Sherman is like one of your healthy guys, that's a problem.
And dude, and by the way, the Patriot game plan was to just throw at whoever Richard Sherman was covering.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, find 5, throw it his guy.
Boy, this one's a good line. What are the Eagles? And did everyone jump off the Panthers because they lost to the Cowboys? I don't want to lay the hook, but I feel okay. Panthers minus here.
I will lay the points. Panthers minus 3.5.
And a lot of it's because a lot of the smack I was talking about the Cowboys. Again, they're playing in games where they don't really allow Mike McCarthy to F things up from a strategy standpoint. Cowboys are good.
Well,
Cowboys are good.
Yeah, the Chiefs defense is not good right now. And so the Eagles' success against it is to be expected. But I think too often people are like, oh, the Eagles outperform what I thought they'd do against the Chiefs. So they must be better than I thought. They do have some explosive offensive players. And if Jalen Hurts has time, I think he can find some guys. But they lost by 12 points, and it could have been worse. Right? The Patrick Mahomes, they did not force the Chiefs to punt. Now, there's no shame in that if you're a bad team, because the Chiefs' offense is really good. But I mean, the Eagles are not. At the end of the day, the Eagles are going to pick in the first 5 selections in the draft. So, and I think I like Matt Rule. I think he can coach. I think you've got some things going in the right direction. I'll take the Panthers and lay the points.
Okay.
Why, you don't agree?
No, I got a message that I can mix into an upcoming handicap. So I'm actually kind of happy about it. Sorry, I got completely sidetracked there.
Laughing at my pick.
No, I wasn't laughing at the pick at all.
So you on Carolina?
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I'm on Carolina. I'm going to go back to the well. I thought football team was going to be a good team this year. So I don't really understand the spot. To me, the Saints have been disappointing. That Green Bay game looks like a one-off. I mean, what do you think of this? The Saints favored on the road against Washington?
Well, I think the Saints. Yeah, I'm with you on the fact that they are getting a lot of equity off past performances with better talent, and I actually think Jameis Winston is been neutered. And so that's taking away the interceptions, but it's also taking away the plays down the field. And so they're just trying to live everything off their defense. I will take football team plus the 1. The Saints are not good.
And I shouldn't say one off on the Saints because they did smack around the Patriots before the Buccaneers game.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll take
the one I was laughing at was, I already bet this one. Titans, not the best number, but Titans 4 against the Jaguars. We just talked about the Jags when we were talking about Herb earlier. I mean, you think this team's going to be focused? Titans are a mess now too. But I don't think they think that their coach is a joke. What are the Jaguars going to be mindset-wise going into this game? And by the way, the reason I got distracted, and I won't say who texted me something, but when I was talking earlier about, Herb out with a 20-something-year-old, I was saying, I don't know what their arrangement is, he and Shelley. So someone was messaging me talking about Shelley being an interesting person. So,
okay,
which I kind of figured.
Okay.
So, which by the way, we know some of that going back to who was the nut job woman beater, whatever, friend of the family, and Shelley was all about that whole situation too, like being all fucking weird. So anyway, on the football handicap, I mean, I think this one, if the Jaguars come up big and they're focused and they're fired up to play for Urban Meyer, then I guess I'll have egg on my face. But I don't know.
Well,
This-
explain the line to me. I mean, all the money's coming in on the Titans, and the line's gone from 7.5 to
so
the wide receivers
Sharps.
are hurt.
Sharps can be whores for certain teams. They will go back. They can be stubborn. It doesn't mean they're always right.
Or is this all general public money saying Urban Meyer and the Jags are a mess? And they're betting just on
I could
you can't
be.
show up
Yep.
and play after your coach
I'm
is
on.
corn
This
dog.
is it. I'm on the public side. So maybe I'm a sucker. I'm on the public side.
So you're on the Titans?
Yes, I already bet it.
What'd you get?
I got 4. So, like I said, I don't love it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm scratching my head. Like I'd like.
I know you're not going with it because you're fading the Titans.
I am, but I like if they were 7.5, I'd like them. At 4, I can't. I'm trying to understand what's going on.
Right.
So I you know what? I'll take the Jags. I'll take the Jags
Look
plus
at you.
4.
Look at you. And no one. There really is no man in this world who loves Trevor Lawrence more than I do, but I can't side with him. He's hamstrung by his coach and his buffoonery.
After the trouble with Urban Meyer, Lawrence had quite the long face.
Yes. Is it just after that trouble or just all the time?
I don't know.
Is that the joke? Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not laying 7.5 with the Vikings against the Lions. I guess I would lean Lions.
I'm not. The Vikings are not. I'm not laying points like that. No, and I'm not taking the Lions on the road.
Would you put the Vikings as a teaser team to go through the 2 key numbers?
No,
I looked at it and I was like, nah, I could see the Lions pulling the upset.
Yeah, no, I would not.
Right. Oh boy, this is a good one.
Stay in motion.
This is a good one. So the Broncos, they get the wake up call. A real team comes in, takes care of them. So now the Broncos are probably going to have, I don't know this for sure, Drew Lock because of Teddy Bridgewater concussion. Roethlisberger didn't look good. Now he's got a hip issue, so it's starting to fall apart. Steelers won.
Yeah, not thrilled about it, but first of all, who knows what Roethlisberger really has? He always comes to be hurt. But I will bet Mike Tomlin against Vic Fangio, who spent Monday bitching about John Harbaugh. This is a bet purely on Mike Tomlin.
Okay. In a lot of ways, Mike Tomlin, he wins some games here. This is all a big tryout as a coach to get Aaron Rodgers. So, did you see him winking at each other during the game? Did you see that go viral?
Yes.
So, and then Rodgers afterwards was talking about the Steelers, kind of like, hey, I have a lot of respect for those guys over there. A lot of respect for Tomlin. Oh, you do? Okay.
Well, a lot of respect for the weapons he'd have, too.
Yep.
And Devontae Adams is a free agent, and the Steelers have room to go make that move, too.
That would be a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
I will continue to fade the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are that good. So
I like their roster,
and
I don't like their coach.
And I think Fangio is a little too worked up about something that's kind of silly.
Yes.
I actually thought Brian Griese did a good job on a lot of fronts last night on the Monday Night Football game. I know not many people say that, but he put it nicely. He didn't shit on Fangio, but he said, he's like, listen, a record like this for the Ravens, you're doing it for the players. You're doing it for the players past and present. This is something nice to have as a record. And he didn't say like Fangio's an idiot for getting worked up about it, but hey, it's a reward for all the guys who put in all this work to get this kind of consistency. So like dial it down, Vic.
The whole player safety thing. I love when that one gets brought up. Like, stop. Spare me.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing.
I think a lot of people in the AFC West feel this way, that Denver has a nice roster. When they get a quarterback, they can be really good, but as long as Fangio's there, he's a poor man's Mike McCarthy, which that's not good.
Yep.
Patriots 9. I saw it as high as 10 yesterday. Patriots 9 at the Texans. Believe it or not, I think I'm going to take the Texans plus the 9, even though they just got smoked by the Bills 40-0. You're laughing at me, or with the Bills beating them by a lot, or what?
Well, I haven't checked on Tyrod Taylor's not coming back, right?
I don't think so. No, I don't. I don't. I think it's a weird spot for the Patriots. I also, well, I don't know if I should say this because I believe there are certain matchups when old buddies or people who work together meet up, that sometimes the one who's in power chooses not to annihilate the other one. Now it's not a coach, it's the GM Casario who went down there. So, and the other thing is, as long as Belichick is 4 yards here, 6 yards there, 9 yards here, they're going to blow him out.
I think
he won't let the kid throw downfield.
Well, or the kid won't take the throw that's downfield, one or the other. I mean,
Or
I haven't watched the all 22s of the Patriots, so I can't tell you if there are guys running wide open down the field. I know the array of receivers is still not known commodities, although they spent the money on the kid from San Francisco. I do think there's a couple of guys that are at least chain movers, but that's the thing is I think they've got a bunch of, Welkers and Edelmans. They still need guys that can strike deep, and they don't have that. So I like Mac Jones, that from our conversations last year. I like the upside on Mac Jones, but I'm with you. I think the Texans are the side, but I would never ever play the Texans. I will not play an NFL team that doesn't have a quarterback.
You are very consistent on that one. Bears, Raiders, Bears getting 5.5. I already bet the Bears.
Yeah, I like the Bears too.
Wait a second, Raiders guy.
I'm also Bears guy. This is
I know you are.
Me, immovable object meets irresistible force.
You're seeping into my brain because the Bears were my best bet this last week, and you were like literally the only guy I talk to every week who's like, "It's okay, Nagy's not bad. It's okay."
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, "He's the worst coach in the NFL. He's terrible."
Because
I'll never play on his side.
I'll tell you why. Because I'm not wired right. Like I don't need everybody to be on my side to believe what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I don't mind being alone. Maybe it's an only child syndrome or I'm just, fucked in the head. I don't know what it is, but I don't mind being the only guy on something. Matt Nagy can coach. I've had conversations with him and I know people, I've talked to people. He is respected by people in the coaching industry. I also feel like I've been validated, as Matt Nagy should be validated, but he hasn't been, on the fact that Justin Fields isn't ready. Okay, now you got no choice now. You got to play with him, and so you got to make it work.
And I thought last week, whether it was Fields or Nagy and the rest of the coaching staff, that they did a good job with him. And I thought Fields made some really nice throws and showed some of the tools that have some people enamored.
Yes. And that is what scares me, is that they had a good day. I love the Bears coming off a bad day, because you just hear over and over and over again about how Matt Nagy's an idiot. And so I think you get probably line value there. I do like the Raiders. I liked the Raiders last year. I've been a proponent of the fact that I think Derek Carr can spin it, and I think John Gruden can call a game, and I think those are the most important parts of winning football games in the NFL. And the Bears are my side because I think everyone feels like, oh, the Raiders will just bounce back. I think the Raiders kind of had that feeling of invincibility, and I think there's a sense that, they don't usually just roll up their sleeves and go back to work. There's like, oh, no, we're fine. Like that first half was just an anomaly. We're fine. So I think there's usually a double thud when you lose the first time. So that's why I like the Bears. But I do worry about Justin Fields throwing 3 picks. And if that happens, that's a problem. The Bears are a tough one for me because I like Nagy. I think this is a spot to go anti-Raiders. But I also am terrified that Justin Fields will end the day and the Raiders will win by that.
Right. Could be a disaster.
Right.
Well, I don't think the Raiders in any way feel like they're fine. John Gruden talking about the offensive line today did not sound like he feels fine. Alex Leatherwood has been bad. And then the other problem is the Raiders are getting it's cluster injury time on at the defensive back. So, Mullins down. Arnett barely plays. He always gets freaking hurt. He got hurt. Then they got Robertson out there who's like 5'5". Hayward's been really good, but at some point you only have so many freaking guys at a position before it really starts to hurt you. And I'll tell you what, whatever was going on last week with Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney, better straighten that out. Mm-hmm. Someone better cover him. So, and he's not their best guy either. So, and the other thing is, again, the offensive line's having a lot of problems. I think if I'm correct on the number, the Bears have 15 sacks the last 3 weeks. Like that's always why when people talk about the Bears sucking and Nagy, but their defense
is real.
Is always in 90% of the games is going to be pretty solid.
Well, who was it? It was the Browns where Justin Fields was just awful, but they were like within 3 points or something into the third quarter. Like that defense is no joke. It's no joke.
Hard bear sell here. So we'll see what happens. All right. This one's a great game. Boy, Chargers, test after test. Chargers at home. You shouldn't have, 45,000 Browns fans in LA. I'm sure they'll travel a little bit. Chargers won against the Browns.
I think you will have 40,000 Browns fans.
You do think they're going to travel?
Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Right. And I will take the Browns and the points. Okay. The point. Singular.
I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Okay. Is that because you want to eat at the same dinner table with the
No. I will play against them when I feel like playing against them.
Okay.
But I like what I'm seeing right now. I like what I saw on defense, and Herbert was just okay last night. And they still found a way to win. So, and I hope they run Austin Eckler more. I think they have something with Eckler and your boy Roundtree.
Okay,
I like that pick.
Roundtree from Mizzou, hence he's my boy.
Yes, well, he's your area, so
yeah, I hear you. Just want to explain it to those on the west side of
yes. Giants Cowboys. I am probably going to tease the Cowboys down, but I will play the Giants.
I will play the Giants, and this is one I hope you jumped on the 8.5, 7.5, and got it there. But I had this. What was the preseason line on this game? Probably 4.5, 5.5.
Probably. I don't know what the look ahead was.
I think the Giants. I think their coach is a complete boob.
Yeah.
I think Jason Garrett can have a good game plan, but I think there's enough firepower. I am interested to see because what Slayton and Sherman or Shepard, they're both on the injury report, but they both might play, right? So I would like to see who plays, but I think overall the Giants are finding themselves. I think they're better than they looked early on. I don't like their coach. He needs to be replaced, but Garrett should have a game plan. I think the Cowboys are an overrated commodity right now. They should, and I think will win their division, but not 14-3. There are plenty of losses still to come for the Cowboys.
Cowboys are 13-2 their last 15 against NFC East opponents, and not a big numbers guy, but Giants are 19-6 ATS on the road their last 25. So
yeah, I like the Giants. I think this is an easy play.
Really? All right.
Easy. I'm not saying. Listen, we've bet enough games that I'm not telling you that there's no game that's a lock. Officiating, turnovers, injuries. Right. And at times weather are things that you can't account for. So no game is a lock, but the Giants are the play. That's easy to arrive on that result.
I'm not playing this next game because I'm fading the Niners for a while, but I don't like the line.
So will you play the Cardinal? Like, are you playing against the Niners every week?
No, because I don't. 5.5 is too much.
And you're not fading them. You're just not getting on them.
Well, I'm not getting on them when there's. I think this is the proper amount of respect being shown here. It's also there's a Jimmy G factor. But the whole I think I said it last week on one of the podcasts. The little Shanny genuflecting at his feet all the time. Kyle Shanahan. I've had enough for now. And I also think we talked about this on our local show. I also think it's time for John Lynch and Shanahan. Like, you know what you have to do here. Take the freaking lumps and just play Trey Lance. It might suck for a couple of weeks. The other guy's not taking you where you need to go. So accelerate or get the process started on moving on to the next guy. And it might not matter. Jimmy G's got a calf injury, so
I will back you up on that. The Chiefs got like a second and a fourth for Alex Smith, and I believe that at some point during the year, I think is when they fell to 6-6 in Alex Smith's final year, 2017. They should have handed the ball to Patrick Mahomes. Nobody questions Andy Reid, and there are a lot of people that thought Patrick Mahomes was a bad decision. But I absolutely will forever believe that they certainly would have beaten the Titans in the playoffs, and I think they absolutely could have given the Patriots everything they wanted because they did the next year with Patrick Mahomes. So I don't disagree if the guy is ready, and I think based on what we saw from him, he looks like he's ready. But there is an element of, yeah, he's ready to be good, but we're not ready to win a championship, and if we can flip. I don't think you can flip Garoppolo for as much as they moved Alex Smith. So I'm in agreement with you, but there is a line of thought that like we can get something for Garoppolo if he's our starter at the end of the year. Just giving you a line of thinking, but I agree with your premise, especially when Lance played well last week.
What would you trade for Garoppolo?
Nothing.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, a sixth?
Nothing, but many NFL general managers are dumb. No, I think he'll bring like a, so like a fourth with a conditionalized to a third or something like that. Listen, I what I've said, like the Chiefs crapped away many a year paying, the fifth biggest quarterback contract to Alex Smith, the guy who's 5% better than Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's playing for $3 million. Their fear of the unknown is staggering. It cripples them from making good decisions. You're not going to win a championship with Alex Smith. So why are you worried if you jettison and your rookie quarterback throws some picks? The problem is Jimmy Garoppolo in a bad NFC got them to a lead with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of a championship by 10 points, and they think that's real.
All right. Big showdown. Boy, the Bills have a little momentum coming in, 40-0. Now the number is 2.5. I will tell you, I made a bad bet last week. I was kind of banking on the Bills looking ahead, maybe not looking great against the Texans and the Chiefs going and just annihilating the Eagles. So the Chiefs were 3.5 last week. I'm like, I'm getting on that before it goes to 4, 4.5, 5. Oops. Now it's 3 and 2.5 in places.
So again, no game is a lock, but Josh Allen has actually regressed. Their success is against horrible teams. He's beating quarterbacks like Davis Mills and Jacoby Brissett. They shut out the Dolphins when Jacoby Brissett came in there, and Josh Allen's completing less than 64% of his passes. He's got, I just listened to Eric Eager lay out all the numbers from PFF, and he's not playing that well. And the Chiefs defense is an abomination, and the Bills defense is a bloated number 1 overall, again, off bad opponents. But I think at the end of the day, which quarterback's better, a rule of thumb, if you just want to win the game, and once you get down under a field goal, oftentimes it just comes down to who's going to win the game. Better quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. He will make the plays. They played terrible against the Ravens and Chargers, and both those teams still needed 60 full minutes to beat them. They were -3 and leading, -3 in turnovers against the Chargers and leading the game. Now, their defense is a problem. It's a sieve. But that's with the bold Brandon Staley, and look at all his moves. Yeah, all his moves got him trailing in the fourth quarter. Now, Justin Herbert saved his bacon, as Patrick Mahomes has saved the bacon of the Chiefs many times. That's what quarterbacks do. But Josh Allen is a step down, I think, from Justin Herbert, and I think that will show itself again in this game. I like the Chiefs minus the points.
I'm on the Chiefs, so maybe I will make another bet so that I don't lose the half point. So we'll see. Or lose by the half point if it finishes on 3.
Well, you love your teasers. You could tease it. I think if you can also find something where you lay even more points, I would be interested in that.
Ooh, alt bet. Okay.
Well, the Chiefs hadn't covered a spread for like almost a calendar year, right? Till they covered it. And I think there have been a lot of different things that have made that a fluke, and people are hanging their hats on it. Before that, when the Chiefs won, they won big. And I think it's time to get back to that style of football.
On Monday night, I will take the Colts plus the 7 against the Ravens.
Yes, easy. Just because I think the Ravens are a good team, but I think the Colts are better than what they've shown to this point, although they're awfully banged up. That's the problem. I don't love it, but I would not lay 7 with the Ravens against a roster that I think is good and a coach that I think is good. At some point, he's going to turn the corner.
All right.
And the Ravens' injuries have to catch up to them at some point.
You would think. As Fangio said, they just don't care about the players. What do you have coming up the rest of the week? We got some Hen House. We got you going out to the sporting goods store in Lawrence. What do we got going on?
We
You never know. Damn it, you never know.
You just
I always catch it. Just look at your phone. You must have a calendar. You have to know where you are.
Yeah, I do. No, we will be talking about Hen House, their 98th birthday.
I love Hen
House in business.
I love
So
it.
we will be doing some stuff with Hen House this week. Thank you for pointing out my friends at Hen House.
Love it.
Great friends of the program at Hen House. We'll be doing that. That's the only locational type stuff we're doing. And then, do we have anything big coming up? I don't think so. I don't think so.
A live remote from the Harley dealership, sponsored by a lighting company.
Worth Harley Davidson North.
Oh.
Great company. Bike night on Thursday night. Those are going to be running out pretty soon. I would encourage everybody to get up there on Thursday night. Live music, ice cold beer, and really good barbecue. We should do that. We should actually do like I do want, when we get the pandemic done, I do want to come out for like we should do like Chiefs at Raiders. We should do like 5 days of shows from Vegas. One from Cofield's house, one from our buddy JB's house. I would say I'd go to one of the strip clubs that you broadcast from, but that's not going to happen in my house. That will
Oh,
not.
come on.
Nope. Won't
It's
be
no
allowed.
fun. No fun.
But we will find some spots. I do promise to
Well,
broadcast.
we can find you spots.
Yeah, we need to do that. Well, definitely one from Battleborn. As much time as I've spent in Battleborn doing fantasy leagues. So I
there's
demand.
there's no way you're coming here for the Sunday night football game.
What's the date?
11/14.
No chance.
Damn.
No, I no, because I've adamantly told our buddy Archie that no, I'm not spending the money for what the cost of the tickets. You want to see how much money I'm having to dole out for Cowboy tickets in Kansas City?
No,
because JB's coming here, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's probably a good move. Actually, I don't even know if I could see you that week. So
there you go. Yeah, you're probably out of town at UNLV.
No, I'm here. Actually, UNLV on the 13th, the day before, has a doubleheader football and basketball. They play Hawaii during the day and then Cal basketball at night.
Oh yeah, we'd hang out a lot.
A little bit busy.
Yeah, kind of busy.
I'm not your only friend in town. Yeah, you can hang out with Chris.
No, I have
and his cats.
I have lots of friends everywhere. Very popular guy. My calendar, as you know, is quite full.
I don't even know what this means. $25,000 a ticket.
No, but I am.
If you wanted 2 tickets, I have a line on tickets. I think I have a line on tickets.
What, for the Raiders?
Raiders Chiefs, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I just had one of my friends who's got PSLs say today that he might not be able to make it. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, tell me, because if it's not Seren coming out here, Seren will know someone.
Oh yeah,
and they will pay.
Yeah, I'll find out about that. Now, my guys at Tickets or Less are hooking me up, but the Cowboy game is a big one. I mean, Cowboys travel, and so it's not a cheapie.
I've heard the prices.
And of course,
pretty incredible.
JB's whole clan is going to come out, and then because they're out, like my family, who has never wanted to go to a Chiefs game ever, has all decided we want to go too, Dad. I'm like, you don't even watch the games on TV. And I've got to come out of pocket for tickets for you people?
10 tickets, baby. Let's do it.
Of course, JB's daughter loves the Chiefs. She loves the Chiefs. She's in Vegas, and she loves the Chiefs. Supposedly shed a tear when they didn't beat the Chargers.
What's more, Cowboys, Chiefs, or ticket to Pensacola on Southwest?
They're roughly the same. At least I will say this, at least the seats that I will sit in at this age. I am now a sports, and part of that's because I've been spoiled my whole life with tons of free press box seats, and then knowing the teams and getting seats that way. I am so I'm not sitting in the upper tank and avoiding drunken fights. Like, it's just not happening. And I'm not enamored about sitting in the lower tank and avoiding fights. So,
not a bad option. What about the Croatian beaches?
So,
all the history of Croatia, you can go for the price of this game.
So
I'll go with you.
I
love to go to Croatia.
I can go. Funny that he would mention that. I can go round trip to Vienna on business class for $1,645 a ticket.
Oh my God.
Business class, which are the lay flat seats in your own little kind of cubicle. because I have found out that, like, I don't know, 3 years from now, my daughter's school choir is going to go over and sing in Vienna.
Oh my God.
So I actually looked. I'm like, if we decide that we're going to, what is this going to cost? Like the kids will all be free because they'll do fundraisers and
Right.
we'll all buy 7 million cupcakes and donate out our ass and they'll get there, right? But I'm like, oh my God, we've talked about going to Europe. Is this going to be it? What's it going to cost me? And I was surprised. I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be worse. You can go for $650 if you fly coach.
Pensacola.
Pensacola was more than $650.
Pensacola. It's still one of the more amazing prices ever. There's
Yeah,
Brady. Fuck that. Yay. Yay, kids.
Big Ben, Parliament.
Yep. Can't they sing in Des Moines for much cheaper?
Yeah, I think they could.
Kirk's going to take a 3-year cruise. It won't be a cruise either.
Yeah, I know. I think that like with the COVID for a couple of years, they're like they haven't done a trip for a while, so maybe funds have been saved, and they're like, listen, we're going big. I did see that it's KC to Chicago to Toronto to Vienna. That's the flight pattern.
Oh boy. That's a good way to close. Oh boy. All right. That'll do it. I know where at. Battleborn Injury Lawyers tomorrow, Silver Sevens on Thursday, 77-cent beers. And then Friday, we're in Parts Unknown. That's all I'll say.
What is that, your house?
No, we usually find
it there in the Yankee Cave?
It actually would be a good broadcast spot. So I'm tearing it out, though, later tonight. I'm so angry. Like I started the whole